Okay. See, I had to switch the mic. We haven't done a garage show in so long that I had to move the audio over. That's why we're lacking the audio on here. The reason I do apologize. Listen, you guys know I'm trying to do a garage show. We're still too hot and there's something dead in my garage. You got to go figure that out. But the reason we were late was trying to get Rumble. Some of you were asking about Rumble. I was spending the whole time, it would log onto Facebook, then it would log on to YouTube, but it wouldn't connect with Rumble. I redid everything, copied and pasted the URL, the stream key, shut everything down, did it again, and again, it still wouldn't do it. I don't know why. So one of the reasons we were a little bit late is we were trying to include Rumble. So I think we should be on YouTube and Facebook. I'm not sure who got vertical, and I'm not sure who got horizontal. One of you got each way, so I don't know. But the problem is, too, is that there's going to be nobody's going to show up because it showed stream starting 5 times, and every time someone clicked on it, it went a few, like 30, 40, 50 seconds and shut off. Well, after a while, people get pissed off and go, fuck it, I'm not coming back. I got that. It's not on them. That's not a bad move politically. No.
Pin PayPal.
It's bad for me because I was trying to say, I don't know. I'm still working on this stuff. Who's got PayPal? I don't see PayPal. I'm looking on YouTube. I don't see PayPal. Trippy Pineapple got a little PayPal thing going on there for you. And it's pinned. All right.
Now you may go.
So now I'm just, it is the garage show, not from my garage. That garage is a little bit too neat for me. My garage never looks quite that neat. In fact, if it's that neat, it means I'm not in there doing something.
I was going to say it's too neat, nobody's working.
Yeah, and nobody's working in there. And I don't know, this is one of those garages that you get, it's real narrow. I don't ever work out of a narrow garage like that. And some of the stuff you see over here, little things you see, like I wouldn't have a little tray for my stuff like that. I wouldn't have my wrenches hung up that way. I'm not that guy.
It looks like it's a trailer almost.
It could be a trailer. Can you guys hear Gen X Mom okay? Are you guys, she's in the corner. See how I've included her this time? She's down in the corner. Yeah. So I just let you guys know. So listen, I got a couple things to talk about here, but I don't want to turn this into anything other than a garage show. So I can do some car stories. I can answer questions. If you guys have anything you guys want a question on, basic stuff. I've been out of the game for a little bit now, so don't ask me something technical. But if you guys want to do retro stuff, I can get into those things, and we can talk about that. Any questions you got, Gen X Mom will write them down. Whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook, Sammy Joe's on Facebook. She can copy and paste into the sheets. If you guys on Facebook have something to write down, fill it up, baby. Let's go.
We have Trippy Pineapple on YouTube and Sammy Joe on Facebook, and we have Josh floating somewhere, I think.
Josh should be floating around. I tried Josh to get Rumble. Yeah. That's what held us back. It didn't work, and I don't know why. But you guys got to remember, this is my third show of the day. I did a world show this morning. I worked my ass off all day doing the Gen X Talk stuff the kid wanted me to get done. Then I did a podcast, which was an hour and 15 minutes long. Didn't even get it posted yet. I'm trying to, but I'm behind on that. And now I'm doing the garage show. This is my third show of the day, so I'm a little bit spent, if you know what I mean. So please, allow me to hydrate.
Yes.
Oh, refrigerated Hawaiian water. Nothing better. That's not true. It's a story even. Okay, so yeah, there was some stuff. We talked about it. We talked about it last night. We touched on it, and then we talked about it today on the podcast. And then I started getting emails and some direct messages from you guys. Have you guys never heard the Fiero story? Being it's a garage show, I think this is completely appropriate. Now, if you're going to ask questions, you're going to have to wait through the story. Ask your questions. Trippy Pineapple will on YouTube, he'll pull your questions and put them in the sheets. Sammy Joe will take them on Facebook, put them in the sheets. Josh floating around, take them, put them in the sheets, which is where my wife, Gen X Mom, is waiting, in the Google Docs or Google Sheets or whatever it is. And we'll get back to, I will tell you that story. I'll tell you right now. And then I have a trivia question about the movie Bullet. Something I just found out today. That's an old movie from way back when, about a Mustang. I think it was a 68 Mustang. So we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. So the Fiero story. Long time ago, back in the day, I was a young man. Probably, I guess I just turned 18, maybe 18 or 19. And for a while, to make some extra cash, as any entrepreneur would do. And back then, we didn't call them a side hustle. We were just making money. And we would, some people got in a fix in the late 80s. 80s were a decade of decadence and overspending. And people realized they spent too much on their car. Can't make their car payment anymore. Spend a little too much. Leased a car they shouldn't have leased. And so when they started to get behind in their payments, they needed someone to dispose of their car so they could get out from under the payments. And so I knew a guy. I'm not saying it's me, but I'll tell the story from the perspective as if it was me, but it wasn't me. I would never do something like that. In fact, I don't even know who this guy was, but it wasn't me. And so I've done this before. I was kind of getting out of it now. I was kind of getting done with it. And my friend comes up, who I did this with, and he said, we got one more to do. The guy's going to pay us a lot of money. He's doubling the price. And he had, I looked out front, and this was down in North Hollywood, and he had a 1985 or 86, it must have been 86, it's pretty new, brand new, gold Fiero. And I didn't like the Fieros. The Fieros were a pile of shit back in the day. I guess they have some nostalgia to them now that they no longer make them. But I didn't like them back then. And I said, all right, one more. That's it. This is the last one we're doing. And then I said, who's the guy standing out by the car? He goes, oh, that's the owner. He's going with us. I said, no, he is not going with us. We are not doing that. I said, fuck no. That's the dumbest thing ever. This guy who's helped me was easily 12 years older than me. I mean, he knew better than this shit. And it was, no, we're getting a bunch of money. You're going to pay us double. You're going to pay us triple. And just guy wants to go. It's okay. It's not okay. And I knew it wasn't okay. You guys listening to the story know it's not okay. And he was insistent on going. So we wait till it gets dark. And we're in the San Fernando Valley. We leave the San Fernando Valley. I'm driving my car. My buddy's driving the Fiero with the owner in it. And we head up the 5. We get out of Valencia to the 126. And we headed west on the 126. And it was below Castaic, just north of Valencia, like I'd said, in Canyon Country. And we went to Pyroot Lake. And if you take the little road that heads north into Pyroot Lake off the 126, you get to a spot, unless they've changed it, where the levee or the dam is holding back Pyroot Lake. It's not a huge lake, but there's kind of a turnout. There's a turnout where you could park and put 20 or 30 cars, a little turnout. Look down. Deepest part of the lake is right there. You look over the edge. And it's dusk. It's getting dark. And we pull out there. And the guy says, okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with my car? I said, I'm going to fucking drive it over the edge into the fucking water and let it sink. He said, well, what if oil comes out? What if oil floats to the top? I said, yeah, that can happen. It's not a big deal. Your car's fucking gone. Somebody stole your car, drove it over the edge. It's fucking edge. You're done. He says, well, I just, I don't know about the oil. It's like, what are you, fucking environmentalist, man? Shut the fuck up. And then I'm yelling at my friend. I told him, I told you not to bring this fucking guy. So it gets dark and very few cars are going by. And I'm guessing this was a Saturday. It must have been a Saturday night. And it was in the summertime. And so, Fieros are like this high off the ground. So we get this thing in neutral and we start pushing it towards the edge. And as soon as the front tires go over the edge, the car just sits down on its frame. Boom. Just stops. As soon as the front tires are over, this thing just sits down. It's not like you drug it over the edge and you could slide it. And the front tires, boom, and god damn it. So now we're pushing this thing. We're scraping it along this gravel, trying to push it over the edge. And you can see headlights coming up because now it's dark. They're coming up the canyon. So we all sit back on the back of the car. We stop pushing it over the edge as the car goes by because there is a point when the headlights kind of turn and point right at all of us. So we sit like this. Cars go by, a couple of them every now and then, so we're back to pushing. Now, this car, we finally wrestled this car about halfway, and it's teetering like, God damn it, fucking go! This car doesn't want to go in the water. And the owner, who should not be there in the first place, starts to panic. He jumps in the car. Now, he doesn't jump in and it goes right over. No, because it's still about halfway. He starts the thing up, puts it in reverse, and spins those wheels. Now, he does that, the car starts to tilt. Me and my buddy jump on the back of the car. We're bringing it back down. And as the wheels are spinning backwards, every time they hit, they kind of chirp like, "Arr!" in the gravel and bounce us back up. We're like, fuck. And then we pull it back down. The tires hit, boom, and it jerks. It pops the car at the back end of it's rear wheel drive. Pops the back of the car back up. And we're like, God damn it, you motherfucker. But it is moving backwards. Every time it hits, it pops the back end up. but it does come back about half an inch. So about 6 or 7 of those go by. It does get traction. He pulls back. He gets out. He goes, okay, we can't do this. We can't do this. We can't do this. He gets out of the car, out of the Fiero. He walks around. I fucking punched him in his fucking head. I mean, hard as I could. This dude's like 25 years old. I was 18, and my buddy's, I think, 30 or 32. I fucking laid this motherfucker out. I almost hit my friend, too, but he was much bigger and stronger than me. I didn't want to do that. Plus, he's my friend. And I'm like, God damn it, you So he's, okay, what do we do next? And I'm like, I told my friend, just drive him the fuck home. I'll walk home. I'll get rid of the car and I'll fucking walk home. No. So we drive back down the 126 to the 5, head south on the 5. We get back into Valencia. Now, we're right just past Magic Mountain Parkway, and there was a street called back then Pico Canyon. And Pico Canyon, was it Rye Canyon? It was Pico Canyon. I think it was Pico Canyon. Now I forgot. Rye Canyon? I was Pico Canyon, I'm pretty sure. Anyway.
Are you arguing with yourself?
I'm thinking.
It looked like you were arguing
I'm telling a story here.
Okay.
So
it's a canyon.
It's a canyon. I think it was Pico
Let's just
Canyon.
put it that way.
There was a gas station at the bottom. Now, back then, it went back up about 3 or 4 miles, and there was nothing back there. I mean, it was just empty. There's bike trails and motorcycle and hiking and stuff. Now there's 6 miles of houses, but back then there was nothing. So I go into the gas station. I buy a gas can. I fill it up with gas. We drive this Fiero all the way up to the end of the canyon. I turn it sideways. I put this dumb motherfucker back in my car and tell him sit there in the back seat and shut up. And I poured gas in this thing all over it, all over the outside, all over the inside. Left my trail of gas through the gas can inside. Lit a match, watched it go up, and I watched it. Whoo. I mean, the whole car, whoo, just in flames, burning on the inside, burning out the windows. The windows were down. Everything's going. All right. I mean, it's glowing. Get back in my car, drive down there to the 5, head down the 5, get back over into the valley. Job's done. My friend drives the guy home, and everything's good. I think that was a Saturday night. Monday morning, my buddy comes knocking on my door, and I go, what's up? He goes, you got to come down to the North Hollywood police station with me. And I went, I'm quite sure I don't. I am not going. Why would I go to the North Hollywood police station? Now, even if this has to do with the car, this was in sheriff territory. There was a sheriff. You'd have gone to L.A. County Sheriff, and if it had to do with this Fiero. So I'm thinking, why do you want me to go to the? No, I'm not going down there. He goes, yeah, you got to come down here. And I said, why do I got to come down here? And he goes, you got to come down to the police station. No, the fuck I do. He goes, you're not in trouble. You just got to see this. I said, okay. So I get down there, and inside the station in the front door is the guy, the owner of the Fiero. Now I know the Fiero has something to do with this. I have no idea why we're down at the North Hollywood police station, other than I think maybe that's where he filed the report. I don't know. I'm not sure. We're still in LA County. And the officer says, all right, you three come back here with me. And we walk through the police station. In the back area, they have kind of at the time, they had a makeshift area for impound cars. It really wasn't much. So North Hollywood Station was a pretty small station back in the day. And he watched there's going to be some cop that goes, I remember this. I was there when you boys came in. And there's the Fiero. Almost in perfect condition. One popped tire. I think it was the back left tire was popped. And I leaned inside and I looked up, and a little bit of soot, a little bit of black soot on the headliner, like you could take your finger and scrape off the soot, and it was still gold inside. Yeah. And I was like, huh. And the cops looking at you like, they're waiting for your facial expression. Are you surprised? You look surprised. Why would you be surprised? Why are you surprised the car? You look surprised. Do you have anything to do with it? And I just walked in and said, oh, that's interesting, man. That's interesting. You pull a Lebowski on the guy. Say, oh. So the guy says, well, here, sir, we recovered your car. Problem solved. Change your spare tire and drive this thing away. So I left. I went home. The next day, guess what shows up in my front yard? Yeah. The gold Fiero, the owner, and my friend. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? He's like, I can't make these payments. I can't do this. I said, look, if you want me to do this, I want all the money. I'm not splitting it with my friend. And you guys just both drive away. No, I want to go. I said, nope. I shut my door. He goes, okay. Gave me the keys, gave me a bunch of money. And I with a friend of mine, not the same friend, different friend, drove that thing out over the 14, past Acton, past Palmdale, out Avenue O. I'm sure nobody on here knows where Avenue O is. And I think it was O and 90th. And we took O east, up over the hill, a little draw, and you drop down into a town called Lake LA, Lake Los Angeles. No lake anymore. It was a man-made lake like in the 30s or 40s. It's gone. And everybody who lives out there just wants to be left the fuck alone. And right as you come down into this community, there was a street that, I don't know, maybe it would have been like, I don't even know what it was. 270. No, it wasn't that far. I don't know what it was, but it went south. They do a lot of filming of commercials on this one road. After you drop into Lake LA, there's one road that goes to the left, all the way. It goes far. It goes real far. So I drove down there and I turned left, and not too far down, maybe half a mile. A buddy of mine had a plot of land and a motorhome out there, and more importantly, had a big old D9 Caterpillar. And I kind of fumbled my way around driving that thing, and I scooped, and I drove around, and I scooped, and I drove around till I had a big U type of a hole, deep too. I mean, just kept driving the Caterpillar in. I lowered the blade just enough to scrape more, and I pushed this Fiero in the hole. Okay, because we couldn't drown it, we couldn't burn it, so I thought I'll bury the fucking thing. So, and when I pushed it, it kind of tumbled as I pushed it along in here, landed on its wheels, and I looked at it, thought, I'm just going to kill this thing right now to make sure it doesn't dig its way back out. Well, you've seen the luck I've had with it so far. Okay. So I drove this thing over it, back and forth, like 13 times. And they built some sort of a bar, some sort of a pillar around the windshield, and the A pillars right here. It's like it's part of the frame, because I drove this thing over 13 times. Everything smashed on the car, but this thing. The windows were gone, the roof was gone, but this fucking bar just stays like it's perfectly in the same shape as it was designed by Pontiac in 1985 or 86, whatever they did. Like the car was sitting there just flipping me off with that one bar going, fuck you. You can bury me, you can crush me, but do you not see this bar right here? Fuck you. And I couldn't get it to break. I finally just pushed the dirt over it, covered it up, drove over it a bunch of times, and I left. That was the end of the story, pretty much. I did the Fiero. Other than for years afterward, I'd be at a traffic light and some girl would pull up in a Fiero and I'd roll down my window and go, hey, roll down her window, roll down my window, hey, your car won't burn? And they look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, you probably can't drown it either, just so you know. Your car won't burn. You're safe. I had no idea what I was saying, but I did that for years. Pull up next to a buddy. Say, hey, buddy, roll down your window. Yeah, nice car. Your Fiero won't burn. Again, people look, what the fuck is he talking about? I told them they're safe. Hey, I'm going to worry about it. Your car will not burn. You're in good shape. It was a couple years ago. This was like, 40 years ago? And then a few years back, I was driving on my way I was heading to the 15. I was either going up to Vegas or down to San Bernardino, and I took my wife. We just went some back roads. We drove over Avenue O, and I just happened to remember the Fiero story, and I pointed and I said, just down that road right there where that patch of dirt is, because my friend doesn't live there anymore. It's been 40 years, and there's really nothing out there, a couple old cars and stuff. I go, right there. That's where the Fiero is to this day. No one's ever. It's still there. You go dig it up right now. You dig it up, it just sit there like this. You dig it up, it'd be doing this. It'd be looking for me doing this, but that car is still there. I know right where it is.
Anybody want a free Fiero?
Yeah, if you want a Fiero, I can tell you where to go to get one, but you're going to have to start making the payments on it. I don't think he made all the payments.
Oh.
So there's your Fiero story. And so, yeah, now you know that. And Fieros, you have a hell of a time drowning them. They won't burn. And if you try to bury them, just bury them. Don't try to crush them because they'll stick the middle finger back at you.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, that's the Fiero story for you. So I thought I'd pass that along. Do we have anything in between the sheets, my love?
We do. Michael on Facebook says, didn't all the Fieros burn up from electrical issues?
Not that I recall. I never saw any of those things on fire. Not a Fiero.
All right.
Yeah, they didn't seem to. I didn't like, they were called a mid-engine car, even though it was a rear, because the engine was technically in front of the rear axle. I think right now it's kind of a unique design. Back then I thought they were pieces of shit. They were hard to work on. And, they were just a chick car or a chick magnet car. Guys used to pick up girls in Fieros, or girls would drive them. But
I ran around in one of those.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I did.
You ran around in a Fiero with Michelle, didn't you?
I did. I didn't own one. She had one.
Yeah,
we
it was her
went
car.
over to Hollywood in it all the time.
That sounds about right.
It had the roof came off like a T, not
They
a
would,
T.
well, the
well,
T-top had two panels that came off.
No, it wasn't that. The whole roof came off. Or
Well, I think they had hard tops on those.
I think so. I don't remember, but yeah, we used to go topless.
Yeah,
How's that?
that's not exactly. You gave everyone a whole different. The car was topless. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fiero was topless. The girls weren't topless. The Fiero was.
Good days. The old days. Matthew Cole, general retro question.
Yeah.
Have you ever rebuilt a Magneto? Do you know what that Magneto?
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Magneto. Those are mostly on motorcycles. I never had to rebuild one. I always just got it. I didn't do a lot with motorcycles back then, but I do know exactly what you mean. I either would go to the junkyards and just grab one off of something else and pop it on there. I got to be honest, I don't think I've ever rebuilt one. So I would say no to that. Good question, though. Yeah.
Oh, your buddy Two Bears in. What is the correct engine timing for a 1964 Chevy Bel Air with a 4-barrel carburetor?
That is a bullshit question. Read the question again.
Oh, the question is, what is the correct ignition timing for a 1964 Chevy Bel Air with a 4-barrel carburetor?
Isn't that the my cousin Vinny? That's a bullshit
Yes.
question. The Bel Air didn't offer the
Yes.
4-barrel carburetor until 68, and it didn't come with the ignition timing was 8 or 10 degrees before top dead center. I'm going to go with back then in the 60s. I'm going to go with 8. Later on, it was 10, but I'm going to go with 8. Now I'm going to go with 10 degrees before top dead center. But I don't think that engine was offered in that car. He's pulling a my cousin Vinny on me, so yeah, I know what he's going at there. Can you guys tell me the firing order of a small block Chevy all the way through the 50s and 60s? It was the same order. Small block Chevy, 305, 350, even I think even the 283, 383 one was the same, 283. Anybody? I'm looking in the comment section. Don't look it up and cheat. You either know or you don't. Got to do it from memory. Anybody? Ignition firing order? Let's see. Firing order. Nobody. I don't
Not
see
yet.
anybody in YouTube.
Not yet.
Nobody. Yeah, they're gonna go look it up. So it's cheating if you look it up. Anyway, it's 1-843-6572. Then someone asked me, "Can you name the old 60s and 70s Ford one, small block Ford?" Now it's like I want to say 1-542-6378. 1-843-6572. 1-542-637. I think that's Ford.
I like Trippies. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You know, I don't think there's any engines that fire 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 1, 4, 3, 2. I don't think I can recall an engine firing 1, 2, 3, 4 ever. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be 8. Papa Smurf 1 through 8. Yeah, we know it's 1 through 8, but which order? You don't just fire them 1 through 8.
That's funny.
You don't even fire an inline 6 in order. You don't just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it doesn't do that. It's different.
Okay.
What is there? Can you name me a Vespa engine? No, I cannot. Back from the Dead says, can you know what? If I could actually name you a Vespa engine, those little motorcycles, the little things that have half a horsepower.
Chow.
Yeah, chow. I'd have to go shoot myself. I'm glad I don't know that.
Would you like another question?
Drop'em says, and there's the ad. What's the ad? We have an ad? Could we get paid for that? Drop'em said there's the ad. Fucking A, we should get paid for something. What a Fiero ad? That'd be good. All right.
Shadowlight 154263778.
154263778. That's the Ford one. That's what I said.
Okay.
For the Ford one. That's what I thought it was. All right. Any more questions?
Yes. Dr. Shadowlight wants to know, did you ever see that guy again regarding the Fiero?
Oh, no. No. After that was gone, I pretty much made it clear, don't ever come back here again for any reason ever. I was pretty serious about it. Plus, he knew I punched him the couple days before, so he got it. No, never saw the guy again. I don't even remember his name or what. I kind of remember what he looked like. He was what we called a preppy back in the day. Like he had the preppy haircut, and then he had the sweater over his shoulder that was kind of that you tie it once in front. There's that fucking guy. He was the guy. He was the jock quarterback on Revenge of the Nerds. If you guys know Revenge of the Nerds, I don't remember the actor's name. Actor's name was Mark somebody. I want to say McGuire, but that's not him. But anyway, whatever Revenge of the Nerds guy, the main lead, the bad guy, the jock, the quarterback, him. That's what he looked like, a lot like that. Yeah.
All right. Tim Mitchell goes, my Fiero is awesome. He has a Fiero.
I don't doubt. Today I would have a different view of them because they're rare. You could probably do some stuff to them, but back then they just pissed me off. You know, they were a certain style. They were a status symbol. They were, you know, you're driving a Mustang with a big block of their fucking guys are picking up chicks all day long with that little piece of shit fucking Fiero box. I don't know. I have a different view about them right now, but back then I hated them.
Jeremy Marsh on YouTube. Remember the Yugos?
Yeah, I actually got to work on a couple Yugos before they went out of business. The thing that I laughed at, and it turns out to be the same with old Subarus too, was I try to tell everybody, I said, if you have an engine that is so small, when you lift the hood, there's room for your spare tire under the hood, you got a fucking problem. And then Subaru comes along and does the same thing with a 4-cylinder. And some of the Subarus were pretty fucking cool off-road vehicles just to blow up. I like those things. But yeah, Yugo didn't stand much of a chance. And then I hate running into people that go, the Yugo was a goddamn great car. The Yugo, well, don't you talk shit about Yugo. I still wish I had my Yugo. Most reliable car I've ever had. Fuck off. Please don't say that shit to me. Please don't do that. I don't even want to argue with you. Just leave the channel. If you're going to tell me Yugo was the greatest car ever made, fucking leave. Don't talk to me.
Leandre on Facebook goes, Vespas had engines?
No, they didn't. You had two options with a Vespa. You could either feed the squirrel and let it run around the cage, and that powered you down the road. Or they had a key, like a skate key about this big that you wound up a big, heavy spring type of rubber band, and you pull the key out, get in, put your goggles on, and pull the lever, and boom, off you went. And then you had to pull over and wind up the Vespa again. But that's the two options Vespas came.
There wasn't a pull start?
No pull start.
Okay. Ben Johnson on Facebook. General, thoughts on a Chevy Vega? My brother had one that had been swapped with a 350.
You know, not talking about swapping a small block into a Vega. Let's leave that aside. Vegas mostly ran that slant 6. Okay. Now Dodge had a slant 6 also, but we're just talking about the Vega, which was a bunch of you young kids like, what the fuck is a slant 6? Well, I'm just telling you, take a 6-cylinder engine and lay it on its side at about a 45. That's what it was. And the Vega crowd is so weird because, I mean, I ran into tons of people with Vegas when growing up, tons, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. You meet them all over anywhere you're going, somebody's got a Vega. And they were divided right down the middle. They either loved them, it's the most indestructible engine to fucking drive like a fucking tank. I could drive this thing through a brick fucking wall and right over your mom. And there was people that say, this fucking piece of shit never runs, it leaks oil, it always has a misfire, it gets a dead cylinder. That was it. The Vega community, when I grew up, was either you loved them or you hated them. There was nobody that said, oh, they're Vega, well, they're all right. They're okay, I guess. Nobody said that. No. So my experience with the people that I knew that actually drove them and had them didn't have any problems with them. They were easy to work on. They were pretty reliable. They got pretty good gas mileage. That's my interpretation. I never owned one. And I didn't work on one often, except my buddies had one. But I never heard my group of friends, they liked them. But I'm telling you, the Vega community was divided right down the fucking middle. You either loved them or hated them. And they were about equal, 50-50. It wasn't one that was more predominant. You didn't know who you're going to run into. You had to be careful when you ran into you're hanging out in a parking lot, at a grocery store or something, or a 7-Eleven, like at midnight or 1 a.m, and someone's leaning up against their Vega. You walk up and you say, hey, Vega, huh? It's how you approach this. Oh, so you got a Vega. Let them tell you first if they love it or hate it before you open up your big mouth. Don't start an argument at 2 a.m. at 7-Eleven over the slant 6. All right, anything else?
Yes, there is. Parnelli, do y'all remember the Corvair that had a push-button start?
Yeah, the Corvair. Boy, that was what a shitty thing happened in the Corvair. What was that guy's name? Look up the guy's name who bashed the Corvair. It's one of the most famous names on the planet for a car bashing guy.
I'm looking.
It was can't remember that fucking guy's name. And it just escapes me right now. This guy ran the fucking Corvair into the ground. He says it rolls over. You can't trust it. The rear engine car rolls over. It's unsafe. That was some safety standard. What was that fucking guy's name?
I don't know. I can't find it.
You can't find it?
Trippy's your man for that.
Trippy
Trippy's
find
the man.
that shit. Anyway, this guy, he went before Congress. He got himself in. He almost became. He almost made a libertarian or Green Party run for office. He wanted to run for president of the United States, built on his reputation of going after big businesses. Someone's going to have it in here. No, is there? Oh, Ralph Nader. There it is. Radio Static Productions. Ralph Nader. That motherfucker, he put out videos and he tested all this stuff and he came out. He shut the Corvair down. And the Corvair was actually a pretty cool looking fucking little ride. You could do a lot of stuff to it. I've worked on quite a few of those. I even had a tool for dialing in the carburetors, so you get the carburetor set where they're drafting equally on each side of the motor. And Ralph Nader, yeah, that was the fucker. And then it turns out years later he falsified everything because Chevrolet came out and said, look at our testing right here. Take it. They had these big extensions on the sides of the car with wheels. They tried to roll it over. They tried it 30 miles an hour, 32 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, turning sharp corners. And finally, at some speed, the car tilts and is going to fall over. They recorded it in their test. They filmed it. And they said, Ralph Nader's full of shit. It's not even close to being that. Here's the test from Chevy. They did it again and again. Didn't matter. Once Ralph Nader said the cars are unsafe, you could fall off a cliff if you drive it. Parents weren't letting their kids drive it. Husbands weren't letting their wives. No, you were done. It became a car that nobody wanted. They quit producing them. They're pretty cool collector's item now. But it turns out Ralph Nader was full of shit. Now, if someone's in here going, Ralph Nader's my grandfather, and he was a great man. Sorry, your grandfather was a fucking liar too. I get it. He wanted a spot in politics. I got it. But fuck, man, you fucked over the designer of the Corvair pretty hard. That's all I'm saying. Yes, I do remember the Corvair.
All right, Jane Motz. Oh,
wait,
I do have a question.
Can I say one more thing about the Corvair?
Of course you can.
This is an obscure story. I'm only going to say it one time. I knew a girl that said she would only have sex for the first time with a guy in a Corvair.
Yeah, whatever. You just made that up.
Nope, and I couldn't find a Corvair. Never had sex with this girl.
Oh, that's too bad.
She had some weird quirk about Corvairs, and I didn't own a Corvair. I didn't even know anybody that had one.
I'm sorry.
True story. I remember her name and everything. I'm not going to say it.
True story, or it's a story.
True, it's a story. No, I know. I remember the girl's name right now. I'm not going to say it, but I remember the girl's name, and she, nope, not interested in doing anything unless you had a Corvair. Bitch.
Wow.
Well,
Jane Motz has a question. Oh, I do have a question for you, General.
All right.
Best tools for repairing a car and doing general maintenance. Remember, this is a lady.
The best tools.
Yes, for repairing a car and doing general maintenance. What would you suggest that everybody must have or something?
Well,
what goes in your go bag?
Wrenches and sockets. Like most cars are metric, so I grab a 7mm wrench, combination wrench. It's open end on one and circle closed end on the combination wrench. I grab 7 through 21 millimeters, throw it in my go bag. Sockets the same way, small sockets with the ratchet and extension, and 3/8 sockets and extension. Go all the way down from 7mm up to 21 millimeter. I grab those. Then I grab some Phillips screwdrivers, some standard screwdrivers. Make sure I got some pliers, some channel locks. That's in my go bag. If I'm just going to throw it in the back of my pickup truck and take off, that's some of the stuff I do. Now, I also grab a little battery-powered impact gun. I have a jumper battery pack. I got a jumper battery pack so I can start an engine, or I can charge up some tools if I need to. And got a light on it, and got to charge up a cell phone with my battery. That goes in my go bag also. Can of WD-40, can of brake clean. Those go in my go bag with lids on them. I tape the lid shut so they don't fuck up while I'm driving. I'm trying to think what else. Portable scanner. I got a little scanner. I got off the Snap-on truck.
Kim goes flashlight.
Well, you grab a flashlight. I got a Streamlight. I grabbed that too, but the little jumper box has a flashlight on it also. Yeah, flashlight's a good one to have. You got to have that. So that's it. If you wrote that stuff down or you go back and listen, that's my go bag stuff right there. Just you got to have a little. You can grab a hammer. Got to grab a hammer for that stuff. That's about it. That's it. If you're going to do my go bag is that. Now, if you're asking for brands, that's different, because I wouldn't tell you to spend the money on Snap-on or Mac or Matco or Cornwell even if you're just doing stuff at home on your own personal stuff. I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, the basics, that's my go bag stuff for doing what I need to do. Now you're doing home maintenance, get an oil filter wrench that fits your oil filter, which, by the way, brings us to Sunny Point number 1.
What?
You weren't even listening.
Yes, I was.
What did I just say?
Your goat bags. You said wrenches, oil filters. And you said that brings me to sunny point number one.
I had an oil filter wrench for your oil filter, which brings me to sunny point number one.
Well?
What should you be doing right now?
It's right there.
I can't reach him.
I have to go off camera to
You have to go off camera because this is I want to show you guys something, and we'll get back to your questions in between the sheets. But this was sent to me by a company.
Do you want them all?
Yeah, just hand me a few of them. Let me see what's going on. Hand me those first. Now give me the rest. I'm going to show you guys something. There's a company out there. We'll talk about them a little bit. I haven't tried these yet, but they sent me some to try, so I'll show them to you guys. Where are we at here? I'll grab one of these. There's two different styles they've got. And I have a green screen, so guess what happened when I held up the green one? Look at this tool.
Magic.
Look at this tool. You see this tool?
That's pretty magical.
Let's not use a green one. Let's use a blue one. All right, here's a blue one. There's two different styles, and they sent me these to try them, and they have a little spring on the outside, and they grab your oil filter, and you turn it, let go, slide it back, cramp. Turn your oil filter, let go, come back. Now, I haven't used them yet, and I'll tell you why, because there's two different styles here. I wonder if I got another one that's not green that I can show you. Here's one. Okay, so the two styles, they have the two handles that come together. And I got a ton of these things. They fit all different sizes oil filters. The company is JM3. All right. Now this one's a different style. See how it doesn't have the two handles? It's just got a little trigger handle right here. So you grab it right here and squeeze it in. It's got an internal spring inside of it, and it does the same thing. So there's two different ones here. And I'm telling you that I can't hold up the green ones, but they must have sent me 30 of these things to try. I mean, just got a shit ton of them right here. There's a bunch of them in here. And they're all different sizes. I haven't used one yet, but I want to tell you the problem that I see with these is the handle. Now, they have a ton of different sizes because you have to get the exact one for your filter. So I'm sure when you go to their website and before you order one of these, you would say, here's my year, make, model, engine size, and they know what filter it fits. Now, filters come in different sizes too. So, you can get a Wix filter or you can have a factory filter. They come in different sizes. Even if it's the same engine, the outside diameters are a little different. So they tell you what filters they fit. So if you're going to buy the same filter, if you're going to buy a Wix filter, or you're going to buy a Pennzoil filter that you just have on yours, or a Quaker State filter, or a Mobile One filter, if you know what filter you're always going to use on your car, you get the right one. Now, back to my problem. And for those of you that have worked on a lot of different cars, some filters aren't very accessible. We have mechanics, we have oil filter wrenches that go in, and the handles even bend away. We can have a handle that'll bend sideways to get us access. You put it up in there, bend the handle so you can turn it. This is not a flexible handle. These filters would probably work magnificently if you have room to slide it right down the filter, just like this, slide it right down the filter, and you have access to turn. But what if this is your filter and it's encased in other objects? What if the oil pan is built partially around it? Toyotas have that. What if the filter is up on the side of the block? Some of them are up on the side of the block. You have an axle in the way. You have a bracket in your way. There's an intake manifold bracket that's in the way sometimes. As long as you have access to it, this would probably be pretty cool. I haven't used it yet. I haven't tried it. But there's a lot of filters that are there. There's some now. I have, I should have brought these in here. I have sockets. I probably have 60 different sockets that you can put on an extension and slide deep inside the motor, and it just grabs the filter just like this. It would slide way down in and grab it and turn it because there is no room. There's no room on either side. So I have a filter and extension, and I just use a ratchet back here, and I can unscrew it. Because you have to have room straight ahead to get it. There's got to be some room, or you come in a little bit of an angle with a wobbly socket, but you guys get the idea. Again, these, I don't know because I haven't tried it. They look like they're going to work just fine. I slid one down my arm to see if it would hold and ratchet, and it does. It works just as designed as I'm pretending to try it out. But I got a bunch of these. So if you go to the JM3 website, they sent me a list of which one of these fit which ones and how they work. I'll probably give some of these away. What I'll probably do is go to their website and figure out which one is which one, and figure out which one goes to what filters. Say, hey, does anybody have a 2012 Subaru? We'll give you one away, and then I've got one for that. I don't know how else to do it. I want to give these things away. I want to spread them around with you guys. Like I said, I got a ton of them. I just can't vouch for how easy they work or how long they last. I haven't tried it, but I like the concept a ton. And they seem to be good guys. They're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes. They're making just this thing. They're trying to make it affordable, and these are heavy. I want to tell you right now, these are not fucking lightweight. These are heavy. For what you're looking at, you think, oh, those are plastic, or they're just no. For how small they are and what they're fucking pretty heavy. And they look to me that I guess they could be painted real thick. They're either painted real thick or they're almost powder coated. Maybe if they're not powder coated, they fucking put 20 layers of paint on here. It looks fucking durable. But again, haven't tried them yet. But there seem to be nice guys at the company. These things, I'll pass them out to you guys. We'll try them. Yeah, Gen X Mom.
VB Tom on YouTube wants to know, how many times have you had to remove an oil filter that was tightened by an 800-pound gorilla?
Yeah, one of my, wow, since you said that, many times. And I was working for U-Haul back when I was 17 or 18, and I was in the 7-Eleven company. I think I was working real close to the headquarters out on behind the Anheuser-Busch plant off the 405 and Roscoe Boulevard. I think it was Roscoe and Sepulveda. There used to be a big U-Haul center there. And we got a truck, and it was a big block Ford. And one of the guys who was working on there couldn't get the filter off, so he destroyed the filter. He crushed the filter. And another old boy came in and drove a screwdriver through the filter and tried to turn it off that way. It kept tearing it apart. So they finally just cut off the filter, but what was still stuck on the engine was the threaded plate. The oil filter has holes all the way around in it. I wonder if I can find a picture of that real quick. Wouldn't that be cool if I could show you what the bottom of the filter looks like? Because this story, I've never told it before. It's kind of impressive, and because I did it when I was a kid, and I was around the old timers. Let me look and see real quick. Let me see if I can find it for you. It's the garage show. Have patience. Oil filter.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm looking. If I can find it, it won't take me but a minute. Oh, yeah. Here's one right here. Okay. So let me drag that off the screen.
Ooh, we got a drag and drop section.
We got a drag and drop section of the program.
During the garage show.
In the garage show. Okay, let me see if I can get this up here for you. All right. So they had torn off the filter. This is the part that goes on the engine. Okay. This is the part. So when you look up, it kind of looks the same on both sides once it's on there. This is all I could see. Was just this much. The threaded part in the middle and these holes. And now this thing is just a 1/4 inch thick. They've ruined the filter. You can't get anything on this. You can't get pliers on it. Everyone's trying to chisel. These old mechanics are out there trying to chisel this thing around with a fucking. They're sharpening their chisel with a big long chisel and an extension on it and a hammer. This thing is getting mangled. And so I sat there, and I was a kid. I wasn't the lead mechanic. I was like the helper mechanic. But they were fighting this thing, and the boss was getting pissed because this truck should be back on the road. How to ruin your boss's day because of a fucking oil change. But like you said, 800-pound gorilla. So I found a bolt. Okay, follow me on this. I found a bolt that would fit inside of one of those little holes. Okay? Just found a bolt that would just barely fit in those little tiny holes. And I took a piece of flat steel and I drilled 2 holes in it, and I put the bolt through the hole, and I put a knot on the backside so the bolt would stay. Now I've got a piece of steel with 2 bolts going through it, and I lined up those bolts right across that filter. I had 2 bolts. The bolts came out kind of looked like this, and I poked one in each hole right across from that, and it fit. It fit. So I took it back out, and in the center, I took a torch, and I just cut a square. I just cut a rough square so that my ratchet would fit in there. and I put it back in there with my cut out little hole. I put an extension in my little square hole, and it fit terrible, but it worked. And I put my ratchet on here, and as I turned it, those 2 fucking bolts turned that fucking oil filter base right off of there. It was hard, but it came off. And I thought I was a goddamn hero. The owner of the business came out, and I thought he was going to praise me for this because I got his truck back on the road. And he goes, "Why the fuck didn't you do that at 11 o'clock this morning?" I said, "It wasn't my fucking job. It was their job. You got these old-time mechanics on here. They didn't fucking... Why are you yelling at me?" I thought I'd be a hero to the old-timers. I thought the old-timers would come along and say, "Well, nice job there, son. You figured that one out. Boy, that was taking us all day, and we didn't get it." You know what they said? They said, "Hey, fuck you, kid. You made us look bad." I said, "You know what? You guys are just old-time fuckers that don't get you guys. Fuck you." I said, "I don't care if you get me. Next time, take off your own fucking filter." The next job that came in like that I was struggling with, I couldn't get a pilot bearing out of the back of a crankshaft. I broke every tool imaginable, and I couldn't get it out. And you know what this old-timer did? This is not going to make sense, and I'm not getting pictures for it. This old-timer comes in and goes, "Have you tried grease?" And I go, "Look, dude, no. Why would I fucking try grease?" And he goes, "You have a bearing that has a hole in it. Pump grease behind it until it's filled." I go, "It's just going to make a fucking mess." The old-timer goes, "No." This old-timer was one of these guys, by the way, too, who did decide to help me. So I took a grease gun, filled up behind that bearing, filled it up with grease in the crankshaft. And he said, "Find a bolt that is the exact size of the hole where no grease can get by you, or very little." And I did. He goes, "Put it in there and hit it with a hammer." And I go, "What the fuck is that going to do?" He said, "The grease isn't going to compress. You're going to drive that bolt in. All the grease behind is going to pop that bearing out because the grease has nowhere to go." I said, "This is the goddamn dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life." It took me 3 tries, and that fucking thing popped out with grease. I never forgot that. Old timer showing me that. It's a hydraulic. It's a method of hydraulic. You know, I was a kid. I didn't know any better. Never had to take one out like that. And he showed me, and that was a trick that worked. So, yeah. So he saw me develop a way to get the oil. I kept that tool in my toolbox for probably 40 years, the one I made. Never used it again, but I kept it. And then I learned that trick from him and never forgot it. I did have to use it on occasion, but for those of you that are taking a pilot bearing out of the back of a crankshaft and you got stuck, you've probably done that already. You probably did it back in the day. That's about the same time I was learning it from the old guy. You guys were learning it from someone else. Because guess what? Back then there was no YouTube. You had to go ask people smarter than you that had done that. You had to go find some old timer and go, "Hey, I'm stuck," and hope that they had some answers. There you go. What else you got?
All right. Mark over on Facebook, what are your thoughts on the 86 Chevy Monte Carlo SS with T-tops?
Which one again?
86 Chevy Monte Carlo SS.
The SS was good because they bumped up the horsepower and pulled back some of the smog on it for in that model. But I thought you were going to ask me about the Grand National. I like the Monte Carlo SS, but if you're going to put it up in the same year as the Buick Grand National, I'm taking the Grand National all day long and twice on Sunday. Just so you know, just got to get it out there. Anything else?
Yes, the shoeless one, $5. I beg to differ. Yugoslavia were great field runners because you didn't care what happened to it. The Yugos, maybe?
The fuck? What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. That's what the shoeless one put in.
Stop it. Shoeless one, I love you, buddy, but you got to stop. You want to argue with me? Show up in Vegas this year at our big Vegas meet and greet convention at the end of January. We'll arm wrestle over, okay? You and me.
Joe Derrick on Facebook. How's the garage capacity reduction sales going, General?
Not so well. I did sell some stuff. I did. But I got to have a bigger one. I got everything organized now. We took everything out that I wanted to sell. Well, some of it. We put it back on table so we can just lift it and bring it back out again. The more stuff's coming out. The next 6 months is going to be getting rid of a ton of stuff.
Ooh, excuse me. Jeffrey on Facebook. Do you like working on your wife's car or family cars?
I love working on my wife's car.
That should have been he should have asked me that question. The mechanic's wife is the last one to get a car
when you work on plumbing all day, You don't want to come home and work on plumbing in your house. When you're a roofer all day and you come home and says your wife says your roof leaks, you don't give a shit. When you work on cars all day and your wife comes and says, my cruise control doesn't work, you're like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
and
that was that way for how many years?
1 or 2.
Bullshit.
You do like working on them because you don't have to pay somebody else to. So some big jobs, I had to put a set of lifters in a 5.3, 2008 5.3, and the parts from the dealership cost me like $600. The job would have been $2,000 or $3,000 for sure. I like saving the money when I don't have to pay anybody to do it, to pull the heads off the engine and put it back together. But I don't want to do it because you're not making any money at it. You're not, it's an inconvenience. So it's kind of like that. Well, it was. I don't know anymore. I mean, who knows what millennials and Gen Zs think. But the old-time Gen X, and boomers before me, you didn't want to work on whatever your field of interest was. You didn't want to come home and do it. You got tired of it. So the wife's car was always the last one to get fixed. It did, but it was always last on the list.
So true. Mike on Facebook, what about a 2009 Toyota Corolla? Any thoughts?
No, nothing stands out about that. Toyotas are good engines. They're real good, especially their... They didn't make V8s like Americans did for a long time. Now they've kind of caught up, but you couldn't beat an American V8 for most of its life. And the 4-cylinder Toyota engines with a stick transmission, that's a car that was cheap and easy to fix and would be here longer than you and I. That's the rule. But they don't make stick. I don't think there's any cars that make stick transmissions anymore. But if you could find a 4-cylinder Toyota engine with a stick transmission in a car, be around longer than you and I put together. Super reliable.
We have a few more. Leandre on Facebook. Why are Chevy truck suspensions such a pain in the ass? I can't get my truck to stop squealing.
What year? First of all, if you're talking about the early 90s, they did have a huge problem with the bushings they decided to use. They got dirty real fast. They got hardened real fast. They didn't stay soft, and they were real susceptible to noise. Later on in the late 2000s, they did much better. Also, the design on those things too, with the torque rods on them, were a big pain in the ass, and that's how they did the front suspension on those. You have to see it to understand what I'm talking about. However, the biggest problem I found with people complaining about suspensions on Fords and Dodges and Chevys was where you live. And if you lived in an area that was high dust, I mean, dust, or you lived in the desert where there's a lot of blowing sand, those seem to have problems a lot quicker, a lot sooner, a lot faster, and a lot louder. The other one was extreme temperatures. I lived in Central Oregon where it got below 0, and yet in the summertime it was above 100. And those freezing temperatures wreaked havoc on ball joints, rubber, ball joint covers, stuff like that, and gaskets and suspension parts. It just killed them. Your upper control arm bushings would split and wear out much further. It didn't matter how many miles you had on it. It's how many seasons you had on it. I noticed that was a trend too. And I did the same thing in Las Vegas. I lived there for a couple years. Yes, I moved around. And it just really was weird. By where you lived, vehicles had different problems and different noises and different issues by the conditions of where they lived. I found that to be the case too.
Alrighty. Drop forked plumbing wrench. I'm a plumber and have never heard nor used one.
Of a what?
Forked plumbing wrench, ?
I'd have to see one. I don't know what that is. Maybe if I saw one, I'd know. My great-grandfather was a plumber, but I don't know if that's a new tool, I don't know what that is.
All right. Les on Facebook. Do you still have your homemade tools?
Yeah. I don't think I ever got rid of any of those. I might have lost a couple, but no. Everything I made that I cut a wrench, heated it up, bent it, ground a socket down to fit, I've got all of those in a special drawer, every single one of them. Yeah, for the last 40 years.
All right. We are done.
That's it?
That is it.
Well, we got in about 6:12. We're ending about 7:05. I do apologize. I was trying to get this on Rumble. I really was putting forth the effort, but it wasn't working. So I apologize. And no, we're not in my garage. But remember, I did 3 shows today, and I just got back from an 8-hour drive yesterday from Reno. Did a show last night. Did 3 today. I got to tell you, I'm beat. I have worked my ass off in between the shows trying to get the content back out for you guys. I'm a little behind. I should be caught up by tomorrow's Bottom of the Glass show at 6 o'clock. I should be all caught up on everything. I just got to go get something to eat right now and crash out, and I'll be good to go in the morning. We'll get everything posted. Pay attention, because if you guys weren't notified, go to Patreon. You got to join Patreon. It's $1, but it's where we tell you. It's. I can tell you if I'm running late. I can tell you if I'm going to go do this. It's the only place that I can send you a direct email that says, hey, Bottom of the Glass show, I'm running a little bit late. Hey, the Garage show, I'm running a little bit behind schedule. I have no way of contacting you guys except through there. So there are some member sites. There's a member site on YouTube. There's a member site on Facebook called The General's Lunchbox. There's the stuff in there. But Patreon has all the same stuff. It has 3.5 years of behind-the-scenes stuff. But it is the only way we can reach out to you guys. We don't bother you. We don't sell you stuff. We don't do anything other than just let you know what we're doing with like a sentence maybe. But it just lets you guys know. It gives you the option to pay attention and tune in if you want to. All right. So listen. I got to go. I got a big day ahead of me tomorrow, getting caught up on a lot of stuff. There's a ton of stuff you guys have been waiting for. It's stacking up. I'm grinding my way through it. I'm knocking it down. I promise I'll give you my best effort. I do apologize for being late. I do apologize for being a little bit tired, but I've been rode hard and put up wet. And it's starting to catch up with me. Thank you guys for tuning in today, sweetheart. Thank you for being my girl between the sheets tonight.
You're welcome.
Listen, I got to get out of here. Not sure where you tuned in from tonight, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you tuned in on the Armed Service Radio Network. Thank you for wasting an hour of your evening with Gen X Talks. We'll have more things. I brought in more tools to show you. I just didn't get to them. I'll leave them here. We'll get to them next week. I got them right there. Some stuff I want to hold it up. I'm going to hold some stuff up and give you guys some prizes if you know what it is. Just show up next week and we'll get to that point. All right. I got to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in around the planet, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you tuned in on the Armed Service Radio Network like I just repeated. Remember two things. Number one, wherever you go in the world, there you are. And number two, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out.
Bye.